Ravens flock, the flock rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. So I'm telling you now, it's about to go down. The podcast, the flock rundown. Ravens, baby. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
Appreciate you, Ray. What's up, Ravens fans? My name is Ryan, and welcome back to another episode of the Flock Rundown post-game episode. The Ravens beat the Falcons 13-12. I'm going to go over who stood out to me, who has me a bit concerned, and then just some overall game thoughts in general. We'll start with the backup quarterbacks. Huge bounce-back games from Josh Johnson and Amari Jones. Josh Johnson went 11 for 11, 120 yards and a touchdown to Owen Wright. And then Amari Jones went 7 for 9 for 100 yards and a beautiful touchdown to Dayton Wade that we'll touch on a little bit later as well. But I thought that both of these quarterbacks definitely took a step up from week one. Now my confidence in our backup quarterback situation, not great, but let's be honest, if Lamar goes down, we're not winning a Super Bowl regardless. I mean, that's just my opinion. I don't think that there's anyone we could go sign. I don't think that there's a backup on the roster. If Lamar goes down for the season, we're done. If he misses a stretch of games, I do have some confidence that we can hang in a game with a guy like Josh Johnson. I don't think he's going to throw the game away. Is he going to go make a bunch of spectacular plays? Probably not, but I think he can get the job done. We can play safe. We can run the ball. I'm not overly concerned about it. I think a guy like Ryan Tannehill would probably be an upgrade at the backup position. But I honestly don't think the Ravens are about to go make any other moves. It is a little bit, the room is a little bit of a step down from Tyler Huntley. I will agree. And he might be available soon too. So I don't know. But regardless, I thought both backup quarterbacks looked solid in this preseason game. I'll touch on Devin Leary a little bit later, but really liked what I saw from Josh Johnson and from Jones. We got the David Ojabo return. We also got an Adisa Isaac debut. It was really good to see Ojabo out there. I thought he played well. He set the edge well. He had a couple nice rushes. He had a really nice spin move where he put a pressure on a quarterback. So he didn't play a ton. He didn't play the whole game or anything. So we just saw a glimpse of him in the first half, but I liked what I saw. I think it's a great start for not playing football in a year or so. I definitely am impressed with Ojabo's debut. He definitely has to stack days now and improve on that. And I think, you know, if he can stay healthy, his role is just going to continue to grow week after week, even through the regular season, because he has the talent. I mean, let's be real. The guy's explosive. You can see it on film in this preseason game. He hasn't lost his explosiveness. He has nice pass rush moves, man. Like, he might be one of our more skilled, put-together pass rushers when it comes to just moves. I really feel like that. Maybe Odafe Oweh has grown in that department. I haven't seen a ton of Odafe Oweh, so like I definitely could have a different opinion when the regular season's here, but I really like David Ojabo's skill set. And Adisa Isaac also impressed me too, man. I thought that he was finding the ball consistently. He just seemed to kind of always be around the ball. I think he had 4 total tackles. He did end up cramping at the end of the game, and they had to pull him out, and then they threw Tavius Robinson in. And shout out Tavius Robinson too, man, because he had the game-winning tackle to stop the Falcons from getting a 2-point conversion to win the game. So Tavius Robinson's obviously going to have a role, and we don't need to see a ton of him in the preseason. He was only in that late at the very end because Adisa Isaac had to go out, but really impressed with what I saw from Tavius as well, and Ojabo and Adisa Isaac. I really think this is a great start for those guys. Another guy that absolutely balled and I don't need to see any more of in the preseason is Trenton Simpson. He's flying to the ball, man, and he also had a really nice pass breakup and coverage. I know that they've been saying throughout camp that Trenton Simpson's our best coverage linebacker. That does include Roquan Smith, which makes sense. I mean, Trenton Simpson, in my mind, is more about the mental game and his thinking through the play and making decisions. That's really all you need to worry about at this point. And I think he's going to continue to grow in that department, especially with Roquan Smith right beside him. But when it comes to athleticism, speed, that's why he's so good at covering, is he's so fast. You know what I mean? For a linebacker, he is really fast. So you could see it on tape too. It's not just his 40 time and stuff. He's got football speed. He's out there flying to the ball. I could not be more impressed with Trenton Simpson. Put him in some bubble wrap. We don't need to see him anymore until week 1. And I really think that he might step up quicker than we thought and be a really good Patrick Queen replacement. I'm being hesitant with saying that he'll be equivalent or better than Patrick Queen right now, but I think his upside definitely could pass Patrick Queen. He's definitely quicker. He's a better coverage linebacker right now too. So we'll see. But I have a lot of confidence in Trenton Simpson and his ability to grow, for one, next to Roquan. And also right now, I think he's going to make a lot of plays. I mean, this guy's zooming to the football. A couple receivers stood out to me. Nothing mind-blowing or anything. There's not a lot of key guys out there, but I thought Tylan Wallace looked sharp again. I think this is pretty expected at this point, especially in the preseason. And I really think he could have a role. He's going to be our wide receiver 4 behind Nelson Aguilar. I think the Tez Walker being there and stuff, like, and Tylan being on the bubble is nonsense. If anything, he's more secure than Tez is, and Tez is a 4th round pick. And I'm not saying Tez is on the bubble. We'll talk about Tez Walker later in this episode. But Tylan Wallace looked great. He had a really nice catch across the middle. I think that he could be in for his biggest role in a Ravens uniform yet this season. I really think that Tylan Wallace is going to be more involved than any of us probably thought months ago, but just the way it's shaping out, the way the receiver room looks with Tez Walker having a rib injury, I think Tylan Wallace has stamped himself as wide receiver 4. Dayton Wade also had an incredible route on a touchdown pass, 56-yard touchdown, little stutter and go, just absolutely froze the corner, and great pass from Jones too. Dayton Wade has flashed many times throughout camp. Last week he had a little bit of an up and down game, but I did like what I see from him. I think he's in the mix for, making a wide receiver spot. He's battling with guys like Anthony Miller. He also stood out a little bit earlier in this game. He had 3 catches. He's been really active in camp recently as well, and he's a veteran, so he's competing with a guy like that. Wade's also competing with a Russell Gage, which he may have a leg up on at this point. He's competing with Deontay Harty, who we're going to talk about later. I like what I'm seeing from Wade. Do I think he's going to make the team? Probably not right now, but we'll see. I definitely think he's in the conversation for sure. Another guy that I thought stood out a lot more than last week is Malik Cunningham. I mean, he made some good catches, some contested catches. He broke a tackle, ran for a first down. He had a lot of fight in him, man. I don't know if he's going to make the roster either. His edge would be his versatility. He also could play QB a little bit. I obviously don't think that they trust him at quarterback, or they wouldn't have just shifted him over to wide receiver, but he brings something to the table. I would say he's behind Wade and those others in that conversation, but not out of the wide receiver battle. And I definitely think he helped himself today. Switching back over to the defense, I also liked what I saw from Jalen Armour-Davis, Pepe Williams, and Brade. And Brade led the team in tackles today. He should have had an interception. I mean, it was right there. He got up and fumbled, and I guess it ended up being a incomplete pass or whatever, but he had a great game. He was flying around everywhere. I don't think that he's a favorite to make the spot right now. A guy like Sanusi Kane might make it over him. We'll see. But he's still in that conversation too, and I think he helped himself a ton today. And then Jalen Armour-Davis, liked what I saw from him early. He had a really nice pass breakup downfield. Pepe Williams also had a nice pass breakup and was just pretty active overall. He almost had a strip sack. He came on a corner blitz again, just like last week, and hit the QB while he's trying to throw, but I guess the quarterback's arm was moving forward, so it didn't end up being a fumble. But I mean, putting the pressure on, he's right there. I think Pepe, with the Arthur Millette injury, has a better chance of making this team for sure. I know the cornerback room is really crowded, but I think Pepe Williams could make this roster. I would say out of all the corners that actively play, he might be on the bubble, but I think he helped himself today. Jalen Armour-Davis is definitely going to make this team. I don't have a doubt in my mind. I think he plays a bigger role for us than he ever has too. Now let's talk about what I'm concerned about and kind of like the bad and ugly of this preseason game. And we're going to start with the O-line. Ben Cleveland at center is kind of an experiment that I'm already done with. I mean, it's not just the snap fumble. If you didn't watch the game, Ben Cleveland just snapped the ball when he felt like it, and the ball went 20 yards back, and we fumbled the ball. So not ideal, obviously. He had an inconsistent game at center, and he's not a center, you know what I mean? I know getting him some time there is smart because he can kind of be a versatile lineman and play many different roles if needed in an emergency situation. But what are we doing at right guard? Why is Ben Cleveland just not really getting all the proper looks at right guard? Because I'm not sold on Falele. I love his size. I love his strength. I guess his potential to be great there. But he just looks slow to me. He looks like he's thinking a lot, and that makes sense. This guy has been a right tackle. He's been a tackle for a long time, and now we're just moving this huge guy into right guard kind of because it seems like we don't have a leading candidate at right guard. Now, there obviously has to be more going on. I'd love to hear, from the coach's perspective, what's going through their minds. Maybe they have an insane amount of confidence in Falele, and this is going to be our starting line, but they didn't look phenomenal today. I mean, Voorhees had some mistakes. I'm not beating the guys up for having some mistakes. I'm not worried about Voorhees. He's young. He's also inexperienced. So, I mean, he's going to grow. I think Voorhees will be fine. And then Ben Cleveland at center is just not making any sense to me. Falele at right guard, I'm concerned. I'm not confident in it. I mean, I could change my opinion as the weeks go in the regular season. I hope they prove me wrong. I hope this O-line is dominant. I hope we can run over every team in the league and Lamar has 5+ seconds to throw, but it doesn't seem like that's about to happen in my mind. Roger Rosengarten looked okay. I think he's going to need time to become that consistent, trustworthy right tackle that's not making a lot of mistakes. He's so young. He's in the Voorhees category almost, where we're going to have to just roll with the punches. They're going to mess up. They're going to get beat bad on a couple plays, and it's just a learning experience for them. I guess my biggest concern with this whole thing is we were supposed to have an offensive line rebuild and upgrade tremendously from last year's offensive line, which was also pretty shaky. And Lamar's out here doing miraculous things to get out of pressure and keep the play alive. I don't know. I'm just feeling like this O-line could be a shaky, inconsistent experiment, and that's concerning when we have this good of a team. You shouldn't mess around with the offensive line. You literally can ruin the offense by having a bad offensive line. And there's 3 starters playing in this preseason game. It's not like we have none of our starters out there. Like, yes, no Ronnie Stanley. Yes, no Tyler Linderbaum. We get that. But Voorhees is going to start. Cleveland may start at right guard or Falele. They're both out there. Roger Rosengarten is probably going to start at right tackle. So, that line's kind of out there minus Tyler Linderbaum and Ronnie Stanley. And I know those are big pieces, but just plugging those in doesn't make the other guys naturally just perform way more consistently than they are right now. And it is still early. They got another preseason game. They got, 3 more weeks basically. So we could see improvement, but I'm not going to lie. I'm not feeling great about it. I'm not super confident at this moment. Piggybacking off the offensive line, because they're kind of involved in this segment, but the run game struggled today. We're not getting a lot of push from the O-line. I didn't think any of the running backs really flashed. I mean, it's pretty safe to say that Owen Wright is our running back 3, right now at least. That could change as the season goes, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. He did have a really nice touchdown catch from Josh Johnson where he fought and extended and hit the pylon. I thought that was a great touchdown for him. And he didn't have a bad game by any means. I just didn't think any of the running backs really created any plays or separation on their own. And then the offensive line was just not getting the push consistently that you'd like to see to open up those running lanes. So kind of goes back to the offensive line topic, but the run game struggled. Now, I don't think it's going to struggle in the regular season because you have the threat of Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, and you're running the read option, and there's a million different things you can do and a million different things that the defense is thinking about. So the run game should have way more success in the regular season. Deontay Harty played today. Another interesting situation, in my opinion. Harbaugh seemed pretty confident that he's the kick returner, and if that's the case, then he's getting a roster spot, and it is what it is. But just me watching from a distance, I feel like he could be on the bubble. I don't know. He didn't do anything groundbreaking in the kick return game. I thought the other guys looked just as good. Owen Wright had some nice kick returns. So if Hardy's not super involved in the passing game on offense, and maybe he will be. But if he's not that involved in the passing game and he's not really flashing, and they probably have seen a lot more in practice from Harty that gives them that confidence. But just in the preseason game, I didn't really think that he was flashing. I wasn't super impressed about what he was bringing to the table. So I don't know. In my opinion, from a distance, I'd have him on the bubble, but he may definitely make the team as our kick returner and completely changed my mind. Devin Leary's another guy that just really didn't flash in this game, got less time than the last preseason game, and that may be because they really wanted to give Amari Jones a chance, and he kind of ran with that chance. But I didn't think Devin Leary did anything that great in this game. He had a lot of throws where I was like, where is he going? Is he just throwing it away, or like what's going on? And then the fact that he downgraded in play time did not look that impressive. He's definitely on the bubble, but I think that's a guy that you could keep on the practice squad. I don't know if he's going to be some hot commodity where we're going to lose him. So I do think that he'll stay on the team in some capacity, but not as the immediate backup quarterback for sure. And then the last thing I wanted to touch on is Tez Walker. We did find out that he's still dealing with a rib injury. Harbaugh talked on it, and that's why he's not playing a lot. He's invisible on offense, essentially, not really even out there. He did play a little bit of special teams, but he's been absent, man. Like, this guy is not running with the ones. I know a lot of people leading up to this time was saying that Tez Walker is going to be our wide receiver 4. He's going to be a deep threat this year. He's going to make a lot of plays. And I believe in his talent. I believe that he will make plays for us in the future. I just think that his role this year is not going to be that big. I could totally be wrong, but he has no momentum right now. He's not that involved in practice. He's not running with the starters. He's not playing really in the preseason game. That is just a big recipe. We've seen it with Bateman before. And Tez Walker doesn't have as much credibility from being a first-round pick, and Bateman's more talented too. More well-rounded wide receiver. So Tez Walker's bringing a bit less to the table, and he has zero momentum. He's not really shining at all in this offseason. I just think that that's a recipe for him to not play a ton unless we need him to play. You know, if a couple guys go down, then obviously his role expands. But if Zay and Bateman and Nelson Aguilar, Tylan Wallace are healthy, I think Tez is the 5th, 6th option. And it sucks to say that, but that just, the writing is on the wall. That's what it seems like it's going to be this season. It's not a terrible thing. Tez Walker's a 4th-round pick. This is his rookie year. You don't have to come move mountains, you know what I mean? Like, we'd rather have you just progress each year and play a nice role for us in the future. But based off what I'm seeing right now, I just don't think that he's going to have a huge role, but we'll see. That's really it for my post-game thoughts. The game left a lot to be desired. We are watching deep backups out here outside of a couple key starters that are playing early in these games, but we're watching a lot of backups, and you can tell, you know what I mean? It's not the cleanest football being played out there, but we're going to see a lot different of a team, of a Ravens unit in week 1 against Kansas City. There's no doubt about it. When Lamar and Henry and Andrews and Zay, I mean, this offense is going to move the ball a lot more than we're seeing in these preseason games. But it's still fun to watch these roster battles, and I had fun watching the game. I'm dropping this episode a day late because I was super busy yesterday and I didn't watch the game live. So I watched it after and took my time with it and really put some notes down and put some thought into it. I wasn't online reading a bunch of other people's stuff, and I kind of just wanted to bring my perspective. But I appreciate you guys, as always, for tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim there where the sense can't tame the untamed.